5 subtle types of evil people Stoicism warns about. You probably think you can spot a bad person from a mile away, the loud, aggressive, obviously selfish types. They're the villains in movies, the ones who wear their bad intentions like a badge of honor. But what if the most dangerous people in your life aren't your enemies at all? What if they're disguised as your kindest friends or your most supportive family members? What if the kind of toxic behavior that truly drains your spirit doesn't announce itself with a snarl, but with a smile? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy built for the chaos of the real world, warns us that the most subtle forms of negativity are often the most corrosive. They can slowly drain your spirit, your confidence, and your peace without you even realizing it. These people operate in the shadows of everyday life, sometimes using kindness as a weapon and concern as a cage. Are you sure the people closest to you don't fit one of these 5 hidden profiles? This isn't about becoming paranoid, it's about becoming aware. For the Stoics, clarity is your shield. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus taught that while we can't control what other people do, we have absolute power over our own minds. Today, we'll use that timeless wisdom to unmask 5 subtle types of draining people that Stoicism warns us about. Once you learn to see them, you might never look at your relationships the same way again. The friendly manipulator. First, let's talk about one of the most insidious types, the friendly manipulator. This person is probably one of the most charming people you know. They don't raise their voice or insult you. They don't seem like a threat at all. Instead, their influence is veiled in a constant stream of compliments, favors, and helpful advice. They make you feel special and understood. But here's the catch. Every act of kindness is a calculated move, a down payment on your future obedience. Their strategy is to slowly chip away at your confidence. They'll praise your strengths while planting tiny seeds of self-doubt. They might say something like, "You're brilliant at your job, which is why it's so weird you're struggling with this one simple thing. Here, let me help you." Or, "You have such a kind heart. It's a shame people take advantage of it so often." These statements sound like support, but they're designed to subtly undermine you and create a story where you need them to feel secure. They want to become the one person you turn to, not realizing they're the source of the very insecurity they claim to be solving. This is a quiet poison. You start to second-guess your own judgment and rely more and more on their perspective. Their help isn't about helping you. It's a way to keep you just a little bit beneath them, ensuring you never grow confident enough to outshine them. The Stoic response isn't anger or confrontation that's the drama they feed on. Instead, it's detached observation. Stoicism teaches us to watch what people do, not just what they say. As Epictetus taught, you can't control the words of others, but you can control whether you let them define you. When you see this behavior, you have to build a fortress around your self-worth. Thank them for their advice, but don't internalize it. See their compliments as tools, not truths. Start making small decisions without asking for their opinion. Trust your own judgment on a project, even if they offer to look it over. When they give you a compliment followed by a subtle dig, mentally discard the second half. You don't need to call them out. You just need to stop giving their words power. As the Stoics knew, a false friend is far more dangerous than an open enemy, because the betrayal comes from inside the walls you let them into. The emotional pretender. The second type is the emotional pretender. This person offers you a shoulder to cry on, but only when you're already down. They seem to thrive on your vulnerability. When you're weak, struggling, or in a crisis, they are your most devoted supporter. They'll bring you soup when you're sick, and listen for hours when your heart is broken. But watch what happens when you start to get better. As you get stronger, their support mysteriously fades. When you finally land that job, their congratulations feel empty. When you find a healthy new relationship, they become distant or critical. Their support turns into subtle digs or passive-aggressive comments, like, "Wow, you've really changed," said with a tone that suggests it's not for the better. Their love was never about lifting you up. It was about the power they felt from being your savior. Your strength makes them feel useless. They don't love you. They love your dependency on them. The moment you start to fly on your own, they will subtly try to clip your wings, reminding you of past failures or introducing new anxieties to bring you back down to a level where they're needed again. Their affection is a leash, not a gift. Stoicism teaches us not to respond with bitterness, but to see these people as a test of our own inner strength. A true friend celebrates your growth. The emotional pretender fears it. The Stoic path is to quietly and firmly walk away from relationships that require you to stay small. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. No dramatic confrontation is needed. Simply stop going to them when you're vulnerable. Share your victories with people who genuinely cheer for you. As you grow stronger, the emotional pretender will naturally fall away, unable to find a foothold in a life that no longer needs their conditional support. Your growth becomes the boundary they just can't cross. The caring controller. The third subtle type is the controller, who disguises their domination as deep care and concern. Unlike an obvious bully who demands you obey, this person controls you through guilt and the pretense of protection. They shrink your world, not with threats, but with worried whispers and disappointed sighs. Their control feels so much like love, which makes it incredibly hard to see and resist. This is the person who says, "I just worry about you when you go out with those friends," or, "Are you sure that's a wise choice? I only want what's best for you." They make you feel guilty for being independent. If you want a night alone, they act hurt. If you make a choice they disapprove of, they won't argue. They'll just withdraw their affection, leaving you with that awful feeling that you've let them down. They don't bind you with ropes. They bind you with your own sense of guilt. Over time, you start editing your life just to keep them happy. You stop doing hobbies they don't approve of. You distance yourself from people they don't like. And you measure your choices by what will keep them calm, not by what feels right to you. You find yourself living in a glass cage. It looks beautiful and protective from the outside, but it's a prison all the same. The Stoics taught that true freedom is mental. The controller makes their emotional state your responsibility. The Stoic response is to take back ownership of your life. You can do this by setting calm, firm boundaries. A powerful phrase is, "I appreciate you caring about me, but this is a decision I need to make for myself." You have to learn to tolerate their disapproval. Let them be disappointed. Let them worry. Their emotional reaction is their business, not yours. As Seneca warned, any safety you buy with your freedom is no safety at all. You can love someone without surrendering your life to them. The Stoic path is to love them, but to love your own reason and liberty more. The quiet saboteur. The fourth type is one of the most damaging to your ambition, the quiet saboteur. This person rarely, if ever, openly disagrees with your goals. In fact, they might even claim to be your biggest fan. But their method is subtle. They erode your confidence with a slow drip of doubt, disguised as just being realistic. When you share an exciting new idea, the saboteur is the first to point out all the risks. They'll say, "That's a great dream, but are you sure you're ready for that? It's a really competitive field." When you achieve something big, they might say, "That's amazing. Let's just hope you can keep it up." They never say, "You will fail," but they plant that seed in your mind, making you second-guess yourself. Their support always comes with a but, a hidden warning that drains your excitement. This often comes from their own insecurity or envy. Your success holds up a mirror to their own lack of progress, and rather than work on themselves, they prefer to subtly pull you back down to their level. If you consistently walk away from a conversation with someone feeling smaller, less excited, and less sure of yourself, you're likely dealing with a quiet saboteur. The Stoic defense is to build an unshakable sense of self-belief, grounded in your own judgment. The saboteur tries to paint your thoughts with fear and doubt. You have to refuse the brush. Stop sharing your biggest dreams with people who always meet them with pessimism. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, but ultimately believe in your potential. When the saboteur offers their realistic advice, see it for what it is, a reflection of their limitations, not yours. You don't have to argue or defend your dreams. Your greatest defense is to just keep going. The perpetual victim. And finally, we have the perpetual victim, also known as the energy drainer. This person may not be malicious in the way the others are. They don't manipulate for personal gain or sabotage you out of envy. Instead, they drain your peace just by being in a constant state of negativity and helplessness. They are black holes of emotional energy. Every conversation with them is a monologue of their problems. There's always a new crisis, a new injustice, someone new who has wronged them, but they don't want solutions, they want sympathy. They want you to agree that the world is unfair and that they are its primary target. They pull you into their emotional swamp, and before you know it, you feel just as heavy and exhausted as they do. The most dangerous part is the guilt. If you try to pull away, you feel cruel. If you offer solutions instead of just listening, they accuse you of not understanding. They make you feel responsible for their happiness, and any attempt to protect your own mental well-being is framed as you abandoning them. You feel drained, but you also feel trapped. Stoicism offers a powerful way out, compassion with boundaries. The Stoics weren't cold. They understood we all struggle, but they also knew your primary duty is to protect your own inner peace. You can't help anyone if you let them destroy you in the process. The perpetual victim wants you to carry their emotional baggage for them forever. The Stoic response is to offer kindness, but not to absorb their chaos. You can listen, but with a limit. You are not obligated to be their emotional dumping ground. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary for living a good life. You have the right to say, "I can't talk about this right now," or to limit how much time you spend with people who leave you feeling empty. You are in control of your mind. You can choose not to let someone else's storm become your own. Conclusion. The friendly manipulator, the emotional pretender, the caring controller, the quiet saboteur, and the perpetual victim. These 5 figures operate in the shadows, not with open hostility, but with a subtle poison that can erode your spirit. Stoicism doesn't ask us to become cold or distrustful. It asks us to become wise to see things as they are, not just as they appear to be. As Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, you will encounter people who are meddling, ungrateful, and dishonest. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. Your job isn't to change them, that's out of your control. Your job is to make sure they don't change you. You win by refusing to play their game. Your victory is in your own tranquility and in the quiet strength you build by protecting your inner world. The real power you have is making yourself immune to them. It lies in building a mind so disciplined and a spirit so grounded that their negativity and manipulations have nowhere to land. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this. and you will find strength. If this exploration of Stoic wisdom resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more lessons in practical philosophy. And now, I invite you to share your own experiences in the comments. Which of these 5 types have you encountered, and how have you protected your peace? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.